Sometimes to be able to succeed, we need to isolate ourselves from the rest of the people that we live with. Sometimes our failures are due to the fact that we're too close to the people that we're attached to, in that we don't get time for ourselves. So I believe that to be able to succeed in something, we need to isolate ourselves and put ourselves in a position that we could start to think of our lives in a much more different way, in a different perspective than what we used to. Um, some examples of this is, I have case studies that I've seen isolate themselves. We've got Moses in the book of Genesis. We've got Jesus. We've got Paul. We've got John the Baptist. So all these people took time apart from everyone else and had to think on the things that they had to do so that they could move on. So for example, Moses, he was a prince of Egypt. But after going away from the palace, he lived 40 years in the mountains grazing the sheep for his in-laws, and during that time he was alone in the desert, where he learned dependence on God. He learned humility, how to be humble. He learned the terrains right there showed him how to traverse, so he knew ways to pass through the mountains, in which if he had not had the time to learn that, he wouldn't have been in a good position to lead the Israelites. John the Baptist, in Luke chapter 1 verse 80, we see him being called a voice of one calling in the wilderness. He was in the wilderness for a while, trying to learn different ways that the people used. He tried to see how he could do things in different way from others. He was alone and getting ready for a big ministry. He had to separate himself from the others. Jesus himself took 40 days in the wilderness in Matthew chapter 4, and before choosing the 12 disciples. And this was a time of direct revelation from God and seeing what he would preach and what type of people he would be with. And the same for Elijah. He ran away from the queen, King Ahab's wife. She tried to kill him, so an angel came and gave him bread that he used to move 40 days running away from that queen. He stayed at a place where he was being fed by the crows. So isolation is a place in which you will find your purpose. Sometimes we feel like we get lonely, but I believe some of the greatest things are when you're alone. When you're alone means that when you're alone, it means that you have space between you and God directly, and you do not have any confusions with other people around you. So if God is going to be talking to you, he'll be talking directly to you, and he will be able to get you directly. So that's why I really, really, really advise people to find time to stay alone. It gives you clarity in your mind. So when you're alone and away from the society's expectations, a person discovers who they are before God. But when you stay in a place like Moses stayed in the palace, he thought he was the son of Pharaoh. But after getting out of there, he was even a greater person. He was a person that could talk to God directly. It gives you dependence on God. Most of the times when we are supported by people, by their wealth, by their advice, by their presence, we feel like we're entitled to those people, and those people are our actual help. But once we're separated, we know that, okay, this is actually interesting. So all this time, God is the actual supporter of my life, and that goes a long way. So we see Matthew chapter 4 verse 4. A person learns that Man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God. Before, we all thought that we would just live by bread, but we do not know that the same bread that we get might not be enough for us. It might get finished. But once we depend on God, He is capable of calling a crow that is selfish to come feed you. It helps with direct revelation from God Himself. As Moses had to separate himself and go to the mountains to be given the laws, he couldn't be given when he was hanging out with people because God wanted him to be alone. And lastly, you get internal transformation and character forging. As we saw, Moses learned self-reliance. Moses learned how to move in the terrains. Moses learned humility. Moses learned patience by keeping animals in places that are very hard to navigate. And lastly, I think that isolation will give you focus in your life. If you do not get focus, it means that you need to find time to get focus into something. So when you're alone, you will get full focus as there will be nobody to distract you and you will have to be direct on what you're doing. And this was very strategic and it's very helpful against temptations. So to finish up, you are having a project, you are having goals you want to achieve, you have missions that you want to accomplish. I suggest that you find time to be alone with God. You need to find time to do things that you know are very essential for your life, but you can't do them with people around you. Isolation will help you avoid premature launch. You have a project and you want to do it. You have to plan strategically, seriously. You have to develop your character. You can't do that around people. People will make you act according to how they come to you. It builds sustainable foundations. Like you come from a place of clarity, and so the foundation that you build is actually clear, apart from the foundation that you build when you're not in a place of yourself. And it builds innovation. Most of the people that have been innovative in this world, the Isaac Newtons, the Albert Einsteins, have been isolated, and they've managed to find all that they found out after being able to stay in places that they were alone. So that's where they get a space of mind to think and discover new things. And so we need to be careful. After isolation, we have to go back and actually do what we're supposed to do. Jesus returned to serve people. He separated himself from the people for a while, then came back to serve them. Moses, after the 40 years, he went to help the Israelites from slavery. And Paul, after isolating himself for a while, he went to Arabia to plant churches. And so isolation isn't a permanent place. It needs to be temporary so that after isolation, you get to do the service that you want to do and actually work on what you were trying to achieve. Amen.